The text arrived at 6:47 a.m. while I was brushing my teeth, and it changed everything. Flying to Rome with Dean for a week. Just closure, relax. Followed by a selfie of my wife Celeste boarding a plane, her perfectly manicured hand holding Dean Bianchi's arm like she owned it. I stared at my phone, toothpaste foam dripping from my mouth into the sink. Dean, her ex-boyfriend from college. The same Dean who'd been texting her for months, the same Dean she'd been just catching up with over expensive lunches downtown. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Ethan Fielding, and I'm apparently the only husband in America who thought closure happened over coffee, not cappuccinos in Italy. I spat out the toothpaste and read the message again. The boarding pass in the background showed first-class seats. Rome, a week, with Dean. Closure, I muttered to my reflection. Right. My phone buzzed again. Another photo from 30,000 feet, Celeste raising a champagne flute, Dean's hand visible on her thigh. The caption read, "To new beginnings." That's when the rage hit. Not the explosive kind you see in movies, but the cold, calculating kind that makes you do things you never thought you were capable of. The kind that makes you walk next door at 7 a.m. in your bathrobe and knock until your neighbor answers. Lisa Hahn opened her door looking annoyed, her black hair messy from sleep, wearing an oversized Princeton sweatshirt. "Ethan? What the hell?" "I need a favor," I said, holding up my phone. "And it involves making my wife very, very sorry she ever heard the word closure." Lisa squinted at the screen, her expression shifting from confusion to disgust to something that looked almost like excitement. "Oh, that witch. She actually did it." "You knew?" "The whole neighborhood knew. Tasha Morrison saw them at Chez Laurent last Tuesday. Mia Patterson spotted them at the Ritz downtown Friday night. Your wife's not exactly subtle, Ethan." The betrayal hit deeper. Not just Celeste, but her friends, our friends, had known and said nothing. They'd watched me play the fool while she planned her Roman holiday. "So," Lisa said, leaning against her doorframe with a smile that could cut glass, "what kind of favor are we talking about?" 20 minutes later, we were in my living room. Lisa had changed into a tight black dress that made her look stunning, and I'd thrown on my best suit. She was sitting on my lap on the couch, her arm around my neck, both of us grinning at the camera. "Make it look convincing," she said. "Your wife needs to know exactly what closure looks like." I snapped the photo and typed, "Relax, you're already replaced. Divorce papers being filed today. Thanks for making this easy." Lisa laughed. "You're really doing this?" "I'm just getting started." I scrolled through my contacts and found Marty Klein, the best divorce lawyer in the county. It was barely 8 a.m., but Marty answered on the second ring. "Ethan, this better be good. My wife just flew to Rome with her ex-boyfriend. I have proof. I want emergency divorce papers filed today for abandonment." Silence. Then, "Send me everything. Photos, texts, boarding passes. I'll have papers ready by noon." "That fast?" "When someone hands you a case this easy, you don't ask questions. Meet me at my office at 11. I hung up and looked at Lisa, who was still sitting close enough that I could smell her perfume. "You sure you want to get involved in this mess?" "Are you kidding? I've been waiting 3 years for someone to knock Celeste off her high horse. Besides," she stood up, smoothing down her dress, "I'm between apartments anyway. My place is getting renovated, and I need somewhere to stay for a few weeks. Convenient timing, isn't it?" She grinned. "I'll get my bags." By 10 a.m., Lisa's suitcases were in my guest room, and I was sitting in Marty's office signing papers that would legally end my 8-year marriage. The irony wasn't lost on me. While Celeste was somewhere over the Atlantic, probably joining the Mile High Club with Dean, I was systematically dismantling the life she thought she'd be coming home to. These are solid, Marty said, reviewing the photos. Abandonment, adultery, emotional distress. She won't get half of anything. How long before she knows? Court requires notification. She'll be served electronically within 6 hours, probably right around the time she's checking into whatever fancy hotel Dean's paying for. I signed the last document and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Control. My phone buzzed. A message from Celeste, sent from Rome. Landed safely. Dean says ciao. Miss you already. The lies came so easily to her. Miss me? She was probably already planning how to tell me she needed more time, maybe another week, maybe a month. Maybe she'd just never come back. I typed back. Got your message. Lawyer got mine. Check your email. Ciao. Lisa was waiting in the car, sunglasses on, looking like she belonged in a magazine. How'd it go? She'll know in about 5 hours. And then? Then we see how much she really missed me. That evening I changed the locks. It cost $300 and took 2 hours, but watching the locksmith install new deadbolts felt like the most productive thing I'd done in years. Lisa helped me box up Celeste's clothes, jewelry, and personal items, everything neatly packed and labeled, sitting by the garage door like a yard sale waiting to happen. You're being too nice, Lisa said, folding one of Celeste's designer dresses. I would have donated this stuff to Goodwill. Patience, I said. The best revenge isn't anger, it's precision. At 11:47 p.m., Rome time, my phone exploded. 17 missed calls from Celeste. Text after text, each one more frantic than the last. What do you mean, divorce papers? Ethan, call me right now. This is insane. You can't just file divorce papers. Who is that girl in the photo? Call me now. Dean says you're being dramatic, but this isn't funny. Ethan, please. I read them all, sitting on my couch with Lisa curled up next to me watching Netflix, a bowl of popcorn between us. Each message was a small victory. She's losing it, Lisa observed, reading over my shoulder. Good. Let her lose it in Rome, with Dean. Let him deal with the meltdown he helped create. The final message came at midnight her time. I'm coming home tomorrow. We need to talk. I showed Lisa, who just laughed. Oh, this is going to be fun. You have no idea. While Celeste was having her meltdown in a 5-star Roman hotel, I was having the best morning I'd had in months. Lisa made coffee, real coffee, not the organic fair trade nonsense Celeste insisted on, and we sat on my back deck planning the next phase of what she'd started calling Operation Closure. She's posting on Instagram, Lisa said, scrolling through her phone. Look at this pathetic attempt at damage control. The photo showed Celeste at the Trevi fountain, throwing a coin over her shoulder. The caption read, Sometimes you have to go far from home to find yourself. Grateful for true friends who support your journey. Blessed, find yourself, Rome. True friends? I nearly choked on my coffee. Dean's idea of support is probably splitting the hotel bill. Speaking of Dean, Lisa said, I did some research on your wife's closure buddy. Want to know what I found? She handed me her phone. Dean's LinkedIn showed he was between jobs, had been for 8 months. His Instagram was full of expensive restaurants and luxury cars, but the locations were always vague. His Facebook relationship status had changed 3 times in the past year. He's broke, I realized. Worse than broke. He's pretending not to be broke. This whole Rome trip? I bet he's maxing out credit cards trying to impress your wife. My phone buzzed. A text from Paul, my buddy who owned Murphy's Bar downtown. Dude, saw Celeste's posts. She really went to Italy with that douche. Come by tonight. First round's on me. Paul wants to buy me a drink, I told Lisa. Perfect. Let's make it a celebration. That evening, Murphy's was packed. Word had gotten around the neighborhood, not surprising in a place where everyone knew everyone else's business. Paul had set up a corner table with a newly single sign, and half the regulars came over to offer condolences that sounded more like congratulations. Always thought she was too high maintenance for you, said Jim from down the street. Dean's that pretty boy with the convertible, right? asked Mrs. Chen from the corner house. I never liked him. Too much cologne. Lisa played her part perfectly, staying close but not too close, laughing at my jokes, making sure everyone could see how much better she fit with me than Celeste ever had. When someone asked if we were dating, she just smiled and said, "We're taking things slow." Around 10 p.m., my phone started buzzing again. More messages from Rome, but these had a different tone. Dean's being weird about money. The hotel wants a credit card for incidentals, and his was declined. "Can you please just call me? I know you're angry, but we can work this out. I made a mistake coming here." I showed Lisa, who raised her eyebrows. "Trouble in paradise?" "Looks like Dean's credit limit has a lower ceiling than his ego." The next message made me smile. "Dean went out with some business contacts and didn't invite me. I'm stuck at the hotel. This isn't what I thought it would be." "Poor Celeste," Lisa said with mock sympathy. "Turns out closure is expensive." I typed back, "Sounds like a personal problem. Enjoy Rome." Her response was immediate. "Don't be like this. I'm flying home tomorrow. New locks work great. Lisa loves the guest room." "Lisa is living there?" I didn't respond. Let her imagination fill in the blanks. The next morning, I got a call from Dean himself. His voice had lost all its smooth confidence. "Ethan, man, we need to talk." "Do we? Because last time I checked, you were in Rome with my wife seeking closure. How's that working out?" "Look, this whole thing got out of hand. Celeste she's not handling this well. The divorce papers really upset her." That was the point. She can't afford to change her flight, and I'm tapped out. My business deal here fell through and... Let me stop you right there, Dean. Your financial problems aren't my concern. Neither is Celeste's travel situation. You wanted to play house in Italy? Figure out how to pay for it. Come on, man. Don't be a dick about this. A dick? You took my wife to Rome and I'm the dick. Here's some free advice. Next time you want to steal someone's wife, make sure you can afford to keep her. I hung up and immediately called Marty. The papers were served, he confirmed. She tried to contest them from Rome, but abandonment is abandonment. The judge fast-tracked everything. She's got 30 days to respond, but honestly, with the evidence you provided, she doesn't have a leg to stand on. What about assets? House is in your name. Cars are in your name. Joint accounts are frozen pending division, but given the circumstances, you'll keep most of it. She really screwed herself with this Italy stunt. That afternoon, Celeste's friend Tasha showed up at my door. I'd always suspected she was the ringleader of Celeste's gossip circle, the one who encouraged all her worst impulses. "Ethan, we need to talk about Celeste." "Do we?" "Because I seem to remember you being very quiet when she was planning her Roman getaway." Tasha had the decency to look embarrassed. "We tried to talk her out of it. Not very hard. She's stuck there. Dean left her at the hotel with half the bill. She's maxed out her credit cards, and she can't get home. Sounds like she should have thought about that before she got on the plane. You're really going to leave her stranded in Rome?" "I'm not leaving her anywhere. She left me, remember? For closure with her ex-boyfriend. How's that closure working out?" Tasha's expression shifted from pleading to angry. "You're being cruel." "I'm being practical. She made her choice. Now she gets to live with it." "What about Lisa? Is she just your rebound, or are you serious about her?" "What Lisa and I do is none of your business, just like what Celeste and Dean do is none of mine. That's what divorce means." After Tasha left, I found Lisa in the kitchen making dinner. She'd changed into jeans and one of my old college sweatshirts, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked comfortable, natural, like she belonged there. "How'd it go with the flying monkey?" she asked. "Flying monkey?" "Tasha. She's definitely Celeste's flying monkey, sent to guilt you into rescuing the wicked witch." I laughed despite myself. That's harsh, but accurate. "So what's the plan for when Celeste gets back?" "She'll figure out a way home. Women like Celeste always do. They just make it someone else's problem." Lisa turned from the stove, wooden spoon in hand. And when she shows up here demanding her stuff, then we give her exactly what she deserves. That night, I got one final message from Rome. Fine, you win. I'm coming home tomorrow. But this isn't over. I showed it to Lisa, who was curled up next to me on the couch again. We'd fallen into this routine so easily. Dinner together, Netflix, casual conversation that felt more natural than anything I'd had with Celeste in years. She thinks this is a game, Lisa observed. It was, but she already lost. She just doesn't know it yet. When do you think she'll figure it out? Tomorrow, when she tries to use her key and realizes her old life doesn't exist anymore. Lisa smiled, that sharp, dangerous smile I was getting used to. I can't wait to see her face. Neither can I. Celeste's Uber pulled into the driveway at 3:17 p.m. on Thursday, exactly 1 week after she'd left for Rome. I watched from the living room window as she struggled with 2 oversized suitcases and what looked like several shopping bags. Even from a distance, I could see the exhaustion in her posture, the way her usually perfect hair hung limp around her shoulders. Lisa was in the kitchen making tea, humming something under her breath. She'd been here 5 days now, and it felt like 5 years in the best possible way. Her stuff mixed with mine, her coffee mug next to mine in the sink, her laugh filling spaces that had been quiet for too long. Showtime, I called to Lisa as Celeste approached the front door. I heard the key slide into the lock, then the frustrated jiggling when it wouldn't turn. Then again, more forcefully. Then the doorbell, sharp and angry. Lisa appeared beside me, drying her hands on a dish towel. Should I answer it? Absolutely. Lisa opened the door with a bright smile, as if she were greeting a door-to-door salesman. Oh, hi there. Can I help you? Celeste's face went through several expressions in rapid succession: confusion, recognition, and finally fury. What are you doing in my house? Your house? I'm sorry, there must be some mistake. This is Ethan's house. I'm Lisa, his... Well, it's complicated. She turned to look at me with mock uncertainty. What are we calling it, honey? I stepped into view, keeping my expression neutral. Celeste, you're back. Why won't my key work, and why is she here? Celeste's voice was already rising, that familiar edge that used to make me scramble to fix whatever was wrong. Now it just sounded shrill. The locks were changed for security reasons, and Lisa is staying here temporarily while her place is being renovated. I thought I mentioned that in my texts. You mentioned she was living here. You didn't mention she was answering my door like she owns the place. Lisa stepped back slightly, still holding the door. I'm sorry. Did you say your door? Because the divorce papers I saw said... Divorce papers? Celeste's laugh was bitter. Those are just Ethan being dramatic. We're married. This is my house. Was, I corrected. You were married. You did live here, past tense. You abandoned both when you got on that plane to Rome. Celeste pushed past Lisa into the foyer, dragging her suitcases. This is insane. You can't just divorce me because I took a trip. I can divorce you for abandonment, adultery, and emotional distress. Marty Klein seems to think I have an excellent case. Marty Klein? You hired Marty Klein? For the first time, Celeste looked genuinely worried. Everyone knew Marty's reputation. He didn't take cases he couldn't win. I hired the best, yes. Just like you chose the best destination for your affair. How was Rome, by the way? Did you get the closure you were looking for? Celeste's face flushed red. It wasn't an affair. Dean and I are friends. We have history. You have history, all right, and now it's documented in divorce court. Lisa cleared her throat. Should I give you two some privacy? I can go upstairs. No, I said quickly. You live here. You have every right to be part of this conversation. I live here? Celeste's voice cracked. She lives here? Temporarily, Lisa said with false modesty, until my renovation is finished. What renovation? You live in a rental. Lisa and I exchanged glances. Celeste had done her homework, but it was too late to matter. I'm moving, Lisa said smoothly. Buying a house. This is just until closing. It wasn't true, but it sounded plausible, and Celeste was too frazzled to question it properly. I want my things, Celeste said, looking around the living room. My clothes, my jewelry, my furniture. Your things are packed and ready, I said, gesturing toward the garage door. Boxes are labeled and organized. You can pick them up any time. Pick them up? This is my house. Was your house. You left it. I filed for abandonment. The court agreed. You want your things. You take them to wherever you're living now. I'm not living anywhere. This is where I live. The desperation in her voice was almost satisfying. Almost. Where did you stay last night? Lisa asked innocently. After you got back from Rome? Celeste hesitated. A hotel. Which hotel? The Marriott downtown. Expensive, I observed, especially after a week in Rome. How are you paying for it? Another hesitation. Dean helped. Dean? The same Dean who left you with half a hotel bill in Rome? That's generous of him. Celeste's composure cracked completely. You don't understand. The trip was a disaster. Dean isn't who I thought he was. He's broke, Ethan. Completely broke. He was using me to try to impress some business contacts, and when that fell through, he just left. Left you in Rome? Left me at the hotel with a bill I couldn't pay. I had to call my credit card company and beg them to increase my limit just to get home. Lisa made a sympathetic noise. That's awful. What a terrible way to find out someone's true character. I had to admire Lisa's acting ability. She sounded genuinely concerned. So Dean's out of the picture? I asked. Completely. The whole thing was a mistake, Ethan. A huge mistake. I know that now. Good. I'm glad you got your closure. Can we please just talk? Alone? Celeste looked pointedly at Lisa. Anything you want to say to me, you can say in front of Lisa. We don't have secrets. We're married. We're divorced. Or we will be in 30 days, unless you want to contest it, in which case Marty will be happy to present all the evidence of your Roman holiday to a judge. Celeste sank onto the couch, my couch, in my house, and put her head in her hands. This is a nightmare. No, I said quietly. This is consequences. Lisa sat down across from her, still playing the gracious hostess. Can I get you some tea? You look exhausted. I don't want tea from you in my own house. It's not your house anymore, Lisa said, her voice still gentle but with steel underneath. And I'm just trying to be kind. Kind? You moved in the second I left town. Actually, I moved in after you sent Ethan that photo of you and Dean on the plane. After you abandoned your marriage for a week in Italy with another man. I moved in after he changed the locks and filed for divorce. The timeline matters. Celeste looked at me with something like her old manipulative charm. Ethan, please. I made a mistake. A big one. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work it out. Don't throw away 8 years of marriage over one stupid week. One stupid week that you planned for months. One stupid week that you lied about repeatedly. One stupid week that you documented on social media for everyone to see. I'll delete the photos. Too late. Screenshots are forever. Celeste tried a different approach. What about Lisa? Is this really about us, or is this about her? Did you plan this together? Were you waiting for an excuse to be with her? Lisa stood up abruptly. I'm not going to sit here and listen to accusations. Ethan, I'll be upstairs if you need me. She left the room with perfect timing, giving Celeste exactly what she'd asked for, privacy to make her case. She's been after you for years, Celeste said as soon as Lisa was gone. Everyone knows she has a crush on you. Everyone except me, apparently. You're really going to throw away our marriage for your neighbor? I'm not throwing away anything. You already threw it away when you got on that plane. Lisa is just a pleasant surprise. A pleasant surprise? Ethan, listen to yourself. This isn't you. You don't make impulsive decisions. You don't file for divorce over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? You flew to Rome with your ex-boyfriend and posted photos of your romantic getaway on Instagram. What part of that did I misunderstand? Celeste was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was smaller, more vulnerable. I was confused. About us, about what I wanted. Dean represented this fantasy of who I used to be, before mortgages and responsibilities and routine. I thought if I could just see him again, spend time with him, I'd know for sure what I wanted. And what did you learn? That fantasies are just that. Fantasy. Dean isn't the man I remembered. He's selfish and shallow and broke. The whole week was a disaster. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Are you? Really? I considered the question seriously. I'm sorry you had to learn it the hard way, but I'm not sorry it happened, because now I know who you really are, and you know who I really am. Who are you, Ethan? Because this cold, calculating person isn't the man I married. No, you're right. The man you married would have waited around while you figured out your feelings. He would have taken you back after your Roman holiday and pretended everything was fine. He would have spent the next 20 years wondering when you'd get confused again. And this man? This man knows his worth, and his worth isn't measured by how much disrespect he's willing to tolerate. Celeste stood up, smoothing down her wrinkled travel clothes. So that's it? 8 years, and you're just done? 8 years, and you chose Dean over me. Yeah, I'm done. What if I fight the divorce? Then Marty will be very happy. His hourly rate is excellent, and he loves a good challenge. But you should know that fighting it means everything becomes public record. Every text, every photo, every detail of your week with Dean. Is that really what you want? She looked around the living room one more time, taking in the changes. Lisa's book on the coffee table, her sweater draped over the back of the chair, the subtle signs that someone else lived here now. I need my things. They're ready whenever you are. I'll send movers. That's fine, just call first. She walked to the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, I do love you. I always have. I know, I said, but love without respect isn't enough, and love without loyalty is just words. After she left, Lisa came back downstairs. How do you feel? Surprisingly good. You? Like we just won the first round. First round? Lisa's smile was sharp again. Oh, Ethan. You don't really think she's going to go quietly, do you? This is Celeste we're talking about. She's going to make this as difficult as possible. Let her try. I'm not the same man she left behind. No, Lisa agreed, moving closer. You're not. You're better. That night, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. You'll regret this. I showed it to Lisa, who just laughed. Dean? Has to be. What's he going to do? He can't even afford a hotel room. But even as I laughed with her, I felt a chill. Desperate people do desperate things, and I'd just made 2 people very desperate indeed. The war was just beginning. By Friday morning, the story of Celeste's Roman holiday had spread through our neighborhood like wildfire. I discovered this when Mrs. Patterson from 3 houses down knocked on my door at 8 a.m. with a casserole and a hungry look for gossip. Ethan, dear, I heard about your troubles. I brought you a tuna noodle casserole. Lisa appeared beside me in my bathrobe, a detail Mrs. Patterson definitely noticed. That's so thoughtful of you, Mrs. Patterson. Would you like some coffee? Oh, I couldn't impose. Mrs. Patterson's eyes were practically glowing with curiosity. It's no imposition, I said, stepping back to let her in. We were just having breakfast. The next hour was an education in suburban information warfare. Mrs. Patterson had talked to Tasha, who had talked to Mia, who had talked to someone at Celeste's office. The story had grown in the telling. Dean was either a millionaire playboy or a con artist, depending on who was talking. Celeste had either been abandoned in Rome or had fled back to America when Dean's wife showed up. The divorce was either a misunderstanding or the culmination of years of problems. The truth is actually simpler, I told Mrs. Patterson as Lisa refilled her coffee cup. Celeste chose to spend a week in Rome with her ex-boyfriend instead of working on our marriage. I chose not to wait around for her to decide if she wanted to come back. And Lisa? Mrs. Patterson's question was delicate but pointed. Lisa has been a good friend during a difficult time, Lisa answered for herself. Sometimes timing is everything. After Mrs. Patterson left, armed with enough real information to correct the Wilder rumors, Lisa turned to me with a thoughtful expression. You realize what just happened, right? We fed the gossip mill accurate information instead of letting people make up their own stories. We controlled the narrative. By Monday, everyone in a 5-mile radius will know that Celeste abandoned you for another man and you moved on with dignity. That's powerful. She was right. By noon, I'd gotten 3 more visits from neighbors, 2 calls from guys I played poker with, and a text from my sister in California. Mom told me about Celeste. I never liked her anyway. Lisa sounds nice. How does your sister know about Lisa? Lisa asked, reading over my shoulder. Small-town network. My mom probably heard from someone who heard from Mrs. Patterson. Your mom knows about me? Apparently, everyone knows about you. Lisa looked pleased rather than worried. Good. Let them talk. That afternoon, Paul called with an idea. Murphy's is dead on Friday nights lately. What do you say we throw you a proper divorce party? Nothing fancy, just friends, beer, and a chance to celebrate your freedom. A divorce party? Trust me, it'll be therapeutic. Besides, half the neighborhood is dying to meet Lisa officially. I looked at Lisa, who was nodding enthusiastically. Why not? It's not like we're hiding anything. The party was Paul's idea, but it became Lisa's production. She spent Saturday afternoon helping him decorate Murphy's back room with newly single banners and photos of me from before my marriage, college pictures, vacation shots with friends, images of a life that had existed before Celeste dominated every decision. Where did you get these? I asked, looking at a photo of me rock climbing in Colorado. Your mom sent them, Lisa said casually. I called her yesterday to introduce myself properly. You called my mother? Someone had to. She was worried about you, and she wanted to know if I was serious about helping you through this. And what did you tell her? That I was very serious about you, and that she raised a good man who deserved better than what he was getting. The party started at 7. By 8, Murphy's back room was packed with people I hadn't seen in months. Neighbors, co-workers, old friends who had slowly disappeared during my marriage, as Celeste made it clear they weren't welcome in our social circle. It's like getting my life back, I told Paul as he handed me another beer. That's the point. Celeste isolated you, man. Classic control behavior. Now you get to remember who you were before she started managing your personality. The evening was going perfectly until 9:30 when Celeste walked in. She'd clearly prepared for battle. Hair perfect, makeup flawless, wearing a red dress that had always been my favorite. She scanned the room with the confidence of someone who expected to command attention, and she got it. Conversations stopped, heads turned, and I felt the energy shift. Ethan, she said, walking directly to me with a bright smile. I heard you were having a party. I thought I'd stop by and clear up some misunderstandings. Lisa materialized beside me instantly, her hand finding mine. Celeste, what a surprise. Lisa, still here, I see. Still here, Lisa confirmed. Ethan's been such a gracious host. The room was dead quiet now, everyone pretending not to listen while hanging on every word. Ethan, could we talk privately? I think there are some things people should know about the real situation. The real situation? I kept my voice level, but I could feel anger building. You mean the situation where you flew to Rome with Dean for a week and I filed for divorce? That situation? The situation where I made a mistake and you overreacted by moving another woman into our house before I even got home. A murmur went through the crowd. This was better than cable TV. Your mistake was planning a romantic getaway with your ex-boyfriend, Lisa said sweetly. Ethan's response was protecting himself from further betrayal. Further betrayal? I never betrayed anyone. Dean and I are friends. We have history. You have history, all right, said a voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to see Jim Morrison, Tasha's husband, holding up his phone. Want to see the photos Tasha showed me? The ones from your Instagram? Because friends don't usually pose like that at the Trevi fountain. Celeste's face went pale. Those photos were taken out of context. Context? Jim was clearly enjoying himself. The context where you're wearing his jacket and he's got his arm around your waist? Or the context where you're feeding each other gelato like teenagers? Jim, please. Or maybe the context where you posted, sometimes you have to go far from home to find yourself, with a photo of you two holding hands in front of the Colosseum. The room erupted. People were pulling out their phones, looking up Celeste's Instagram, sharing screenshots. The careful image she'd tried to present was crumbling in real time. Those posts were about self-discovery, Celeste said desperately, about figuring out what I wanted from life. And what did you figure out? Asked Mrs. Patterson, who had somehow gotten herself invited to the party. Because it looked like you figured out you wanted Dean. I figured out I wanted my husband. After a week of playing house with another man, Lisa observed. How convenient. Celeste turned on Lisa with real venom. You don't get to judge me. You moved in on my husband the second I left town. I moved in after your husband filed for divorce, Lisa corrected. After he changed the locks. After he realized his wife cared more about closure with her ex than about her marriage. That's not true. Then why didn't you call him from Rome? Why didn't you try to work things out before you got on that plane? Celeste looked around the room, realizing that every face was hostile. These weren't just Ethan's friends anymore. They were people who had watched her behavior for years, people who had opinions about her treatment of their neighbor, people who were enjoying seeing her taken down a peg. This is ridiculous, she said, trying to regain control. Ethan, you know me. You know I would never intentionally hurt you. This whole thing got blown out of proportion. Did it? I asked quietly. Because from where I'm standing, you made a choice. You chose Dean over me. You chose Rome over home. You chose to humiliate me publicly rather than talk to me privately. Those weren't accidents, Celeste. Those were decisions. I chose wrong. I admit it. But that doesn't mean we can't fix this. Some things can't be fixed. Some things can only be ended. Celeste looked around the room one more time, seeing nothing but unsympathetic faces. Fine. You want to play victim? Play victim. But don't pretend this is about loyalty or respect. This is about you wanting to trade up for a younger model. She pointed at Lisa. Everyone knows she's been waiting in the wings for years. Everyone knows this was planned. Actually, said a new voice from the doorway, everyone knows you've been planning your exit strategy for months. We all turned to see Dean standing in the entrance, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. He was wearing jeans and a wrinkled shirt, a far cry from the polished image he usually projected. Dean? Celeste looked genuinely shocked. What are you doing here? Trying to clean up the mess we made, he said tiredly. Can we talk outside? No, Celeste said quickly. Whatever you have to say, you can say here. Dean looked around the room, taking in the hostile faces, the phones still recording, the general atmosphere of a public execution. You sure about that? I'm sure. Okay. The truth is, Rome was my idea. I've been trying to get Celeste back for months. I convinced her that Ethan didn't appreciate her, that she deserved better, that we had unfinished business. I was broke and desperate and stupid, and I thought if I could just get her alone for a week, I could convince her to leave him for me. The room was dead silent. But it didn't work, Dean continued, because even though Celeste came to Rome with me, she spent the whole week talking about Ethan, about their house, their life, their history. She wasn't there to be with me. She was there to prove to herself that she didn't want to be with me. Dean, stop, Celeste whispered. No, I'm done lying. The truth is, Celeste loves Ethan, she always has, but she's also selfish and impulsive, and she needed to blow up her life to realize what she had, and now it's too late. He looked directly at me. I'm sorry, man. I really am. I knew she was married, and I pursued her anyway. I told myself she was unhappy, that you didn't deserve her, that I was doing her a favor. But the truth is, I was jealous. You had everything I wanted, a good woman, a stable life, a future, and I wanted to take it away from you. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because Celeste asked me to come here tonight and lie for her. She wanted me to tell everyone that nothing happened in Rome, that we were just friends, that the whole thing was innocent, and I realized I was tired of lying. Celeste was crying now, makeup running, the perfect image completely destroyed. Dean, please don't do this. It's already done, Celeste. We did this, both of us, and now we have to live with it. He turned to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, Ethan, she did miss you. Every day. She just didn't know how to admit she'd made a mistake without losing face. After Dean left, the room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then people started moving, conversations resumed, and the party slowly came back to life. But Celeste remained standing in the middle of the room, looking lost and alone. I think you should go, Lisa said gently. This isn't your place anymore. Celeste looked at me one last time. Ethan? Go home, Celeste, wherever that is now. She left without another word, and the party continued until well past midnight. But the real victory wasn't the public humiliation or the forced confession. The real victory was the moment I realized I felt nothing but pity for the woman who had once had the power to destroy me. How do you feel? Lisa asked as we walked home. Free, I said. Finally free. But freedom, I was about to learn, comes with its own set of challenges. The week after the divorce party should have been quiet. Celeste had been publicly humiliated, Dean had confessed his manipulation, and the neighborhood had firmly chosen sides. I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. Monday morning, I woke up to find my car keyed. Someone had scratched asshole into the paint on the driver's side door. The security camera Lisa had installed caught a figure in dark clothes and a baseball cap, but the face wasn't visible. Celeste? Lisa asked, studying the footage on her laptop. Or Dean. Or someone else she's convinced I'm the villain. We should call the police. And tell them what? That my ex-wife might have vandalized my car? They'll file a report and nothing will happen. Lisa looked thoughtful. Maybe that's not the point. What do you mean? Maybe the point is documentation. If this escalates, we want a paper trail. She was right, of course. I filed a police report, uploaded the security footage, and got an estimate for the paint repair. $800 in damage and no way to prove who did it. That afternoon, I got a call from my boss, Marcus Webb, asking me to come in for a meeting. Ethan, we need to talk about your personal situation. My personal situation. Your divorce. It's becoming a distraction. Clients are asking questions, and frankly, some of the details are unprofessional. I stared at him. Unprofessional? Marcus, my wife cheated on me. I filed for divorce. How is that unprofessional? It's not the divorce itself. It's the public nature of it. The party at Murphy's, the social media posts, the neighborhood drama. It reflects poorly on the company. What social media posts? Marcus turned his computer screen toward me. Someone had created a fake Facebook account and posted a series of increasingly unhinged rants about me. The posts claimed I was abusive, controlling, and that I had driven Celeste to seek comfort elsewhere. They included photos of Lisa and me together with captions suggesting I'd been cheating long before Celeste left. "This isn't me," I said, scrolling through the posts. "Someone created this account using my name and photos." "I know that, but clients don't. The Hendricks account specifically asked if you were the Ethan Fielding involved in this messy divorce situation. They're concerned about working with someone who might be unstable." "Unstable? Marcus, look at these posts. Do they sound like something I would write?" "No, they don't. But that's not the point. The point is that your personal life is affecting your professional reputation. I need you to handle this quietly and quickly." I spent the rest of the day documenting the fake social media accounts, filing reports with Facebook and Instagram, and trying to figure out who had created them. The accounts were sophisticated. They used photos from my real profiles, included details about my work and personal life that suggested inside knowledge, and had been active for weeks. "This took planning," Lisa said that evening, helping me screenshot evidence. "This isn't something someone threw together over the weekend." "Celeste? Maybe. Or someone helping her. Look at this." She pointed to one of the fake posts. "This mentions your college roommate by name. How many people know that?" She was right. The level of detail suggested either Celeste or someone with access to her information about me. Tuesday brought a new escalation. I came home from work to find Lisa in the kitchen, visibly upset. "What's wrong?" "Someone called my work. They told my boss that I was having an affair with a married man, that I was a homewrecker, and that the company should be careful about employing someone with such poor moral character." "What did your boss say?" "He laughed it off, thank God. He knows me and he knows the situation. But Ethan, this is getting serious. Someone is actively trying to destroy both our reputations." That night, we sat down and made a list of everyone who might be motivated to escalate the situation. Celeste was the obvious choice, but she'd seemed genuinely broken at the divorce party. Dean was possible, but his confession suggested he was trying to distance himself from the drama. Tasha and Mia had turned against Celeste after the party, so they were unlikely allies. "What about Celeste's sister?" Lisa suggested. "Jennifer? She's always been protective of Celeste." Jennifer lived in Chicago and rarely visited, but she was fiercely loyal to family. It was possible she decided to wage a long-distance campaign on her sister's behalf. Wednesday confirmed our suspicions. I got a call from Marty Klein with bad news. Celeste is contesting the divorce. On what grounds? Irreconcilable differences instead of abandonment. She's claiming the Rome trip was a temporary separation to work on personal issues, and that you filed for divorce precipitously without attempting reconciliation. That's ridiculous. She flew to Rome with another man. I know, but she's hired Jennifer Morrison as her lawyer. Jennifer Morrison, no relation to the Morrisons in our neighborhood, was known for turning messy divorces into public spectacles. She specialized in cases where wealthy men tried to divorce their wives quickly, and she had a reputation for making the process as expensive and humiliating as possible. "This is going to get ugly," Marty warned. "Morrison will drag out every detail of your marriage, your relationship with Lisa, your finances, everything. She'll try to paint you as the cheating spouse who abandoned his wife when she needed support." Can she do that? She can try. The question is whether we can prove your version of events more convincingly than she can prove hers. That evening, Lisa and I had our first real fight. "Maybe I should move out," she said while we were making dinner. "This is getting too complicated, and I'm making it worse by being here." "You're not making anything worse. You're the only good thing to come out of this whole mess." "But I am making it worse, Ethan. My presence here gives Celeste ammunition. She can claim you were having an emotional affair, that you moved me in before the divorce was final, that this whole thing was planned." It wasn't planned. I know that. You know that. But a judge might not know that. "So, what are you saying? That we should hide our relationship? Pretend we're not together?" "I'm saying maybe we moved too fast. Maybe we should have waited until the divorce was final before I moved in. You moved in because your place was being renovated. My place was never being renovated, Ethan. That was a lie. I moved in because I wanted to be with you, and because I wanted to help you get revenge on Celeste. But now that revenge is turning into a war, and I'm not sure it's worth it. The honesty hit me like a physical blow. Your place was never being renovated? No, I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. What is the truth? Lisa sat down heavily at the kitchen table. The truth is that I've been in love with you for 2 years. The truth is that I watched Celeste treat you like garbage and wished I could do something about it. The truth is that when she left for Rome, I saw an opportunity, and I took it. An opportunity for what? To be with you. To show you that someone could appreciate you the way you deserve to be appreciated. To maybe, if I was lucky, make you fall in love with me too. I stared at her, processing this information. So, this whole week, everything we've been doing together, it was all part of some plan? No, the feelings are real, Ethan. What we have is real. But the circumstances, yes, I manipulated the circumstances. By lying about your apartment. By lying about my apartment. I walked to the window, looking out at the neighborhood where everyone now knew our business, where someone was actively trying to destroy our reputations, where my ex-wife was preparing for legal warfare. I need some time to think, I said finally. I understand. I'll pack my things. No, don't pack anything. Just give me some space to process this. Lisa nodded and went upstairs, leaving me alone in the kitchen with the ruins of my trust and the growing realization that I was in deeper trouble than I'd thought. Thursday brought the final escalation. I woke up to find police cars in my driveway and Detective Sarah Martinez at my door with a warrant to search my house. What's this about? I asked, still in my pajamas. We received a report that you've been harassing your ex-wife, threatening phone calls, vandalism, stalking. We need to search your electronics and your vehicle. That's insane. I haven't contacted Celeste since the divorce party. I haven't threatened anyone. Then you won't mind if we take a look. The search took 3 hours. They confiscated my laptop, my phone, and Lisa's laptop. They photographed everything in the house, including Lisa's belongings. They searched my car and found nothing because there was nothing to find. We'll have these back to you within 48 hours, Detective Martinez said as they prepared to leave. In the meantime, I'd advise you to stay away from your ex-wife and avoid any behavior that could be construed as harassment. After they left, Lisa and I sat in the living room in stunned silence. Someone called in a false report, I said finally. Obviously. The question is who and how do we prove it? I think I know how. I called Paul and asked him to meet us at Murphy's. Then I called Marty Klein and asked him to join us. Finally, I called Detective Martinez and asked her to come as well. I want to show you something, I told her. Something that might change your perspective on who's harassing whom. That evening, Murphy's back room became an impromptu war room. Paul had printed out screenshots of all the fake social media posts. Marty had brought copies of the divorce filings and the evidence we'd submitted. Lisa had compiled a timeline of all the incidents, the keyed car, the work harassment, the false police report. Detective Martinez studied everything with the careful attention of someone who had seen this pattern before. This is a coordinated campaign, she said finally. Someone is trying to destroy your reputation and make you look like the aggressor. The fake social media accounts, the harassment of your girlfriend's workplace, the false police report, it's all designed to make you react badly. So what do? You document everything and you don't react. Whoever is doing this wants you to lose your temper, to do something stupid that will justify their claims about you. Don't give them what they want. And in the meantime? In the meantime, I investigate. Because filing a false police report is a crime, and I don't like being used as a weapon in someone's personal vendetta. As we walked home that night, Lisa took my hand for the first time since her confession. Are we okay? she asked. I don't know, I said honestly. I need to figure out what's real and what's manipulation. The feelings are real, Ethan. Everything else we can work out. Can we? Because right now it feels like everyone in my life has been lying to me about something. Not everyone. Paul's been straight with you. Marty's been straight with you. Detective Martinez is being straight with you. And you? I'm trying to be. Starting now. We walked the rest of the way home in silence, both of us knowing that the real war was just beginning. Friday morning brought an unexpected call from Detective Martinez. We found your harassment problem, she said without preamble. Can you come to the station? An hour later, I was sitting in an interview room looking at evidence that made my blood boil. The fake social media accounts had been traced to an IP address registered to Jennifer Chen, Celeste's sister. The harassment calls to Lisa's workplace had come from a burner phone purchased with Jennifer's credit card. Most damning of all, Jennifer had been stupid enough to use her real phone to call in the false police report about me. She's been arrested, Detective Martinez explained. Harassment, filing false reports, identity theft. She's looking at serious jail time. What about Celeste? Did she know? That's harder to prove. Jennifer claims she was acting alone, trying to help her sister. But the level of detail in some of these posts suggests inside knowledge that only Celeste would have. Can you prove it? Maybe. We're still investigating. But in the meantime, you should know that Celeste's lawyer has withdrawn from the case. Why? Professional ethics. When your client's family is committing crimes to support your case, it creates liability issues. Morrison doesn't want any part of it. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in weeks. The campaign against me was falling apart, the divorce would proceed as originally planned, and the truth was finally coming out. Lisa was in the kitchen when I got home, packing dishes into boxes. What are you doing? Moving out. You said you needed space, and this whole mess has gotten too complicated. I think it's better if I go. Where? I rented a place downtown, month-to-month lease. I can figure out what comes next from there. I watched her pack, feeling something important slipping away. Lisa, wait. Ethan, don't. This has been amazing, but it's not real. We both know that. You're rebounding from a bad marriage, and I'm living out a fantasy I've had for 2 years. That's not a foundation for a relationship. What if it could be? She stopped packing and looked at me. What do you mean? What if we started over? What if we did this right? How? You move out. We date, properly. No lies, no manipulation, no revenge plots. Just two people getting to know each other without all the drama. You want to date me? I want to find out who you really are when you're not trying to help me get revenge on my ex-wife. Lisa smiled, the first genuine smile I'd seen from her since her confession. I'd like that. Good. But first, I have one more thing to take care of. That afternoon, I drove to the hotel where Celeste had been staying since our confrontation. The desk clerk called her room, and she agreed to see me in the lobby. She looked terrible. Her hair was unwashed, she was wearing sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt, and she had the hollow-eyed look of someone who hadn't been sleeping. Ethan, I heard about Jennifer. I'm sorry. Did you know what she was doing? Celeste was quiet for a long moment. Not all of it. But some of it, yes. I was angry and hurt, and I told her things about you, about Lisa, about our marriage. I knew she was upset on my behalf, but I didn't know she was going to do all that. She could go to prison, Celeste. I know. I've hired her a lawyer, a real one this time. What about the divorce? I'm not contesting it anymore, you're right. I made my choice when I got on that plane to Rome. I have to live with the consequences. We sat in silence for a moment, two people who had once promised to love each other forever, now strangers in a hotel lobby. For what it's worth, Celeste said finally, I really did love you. I still do. I just didn't know how to be married to you without losing myself. And Dean was a fantasy, a chance to be someone I used to be instead of someone I'd become. But fantasies aren't real life. No, they're not. Are you happy? With Lisa? I thought about it. I don't know yet, but I'm hopeful, and that's more than I've been in a long time. Celeste nodded. She's good for you? I could see that even when I hated her for it. Take care of yourself, Celeste. You too. I left the hotel feeling like I'd finally closed the door on that chapter of my life. The marriage was over, the drama was ending, and I had a chance to build something new. That evening, Paul threw another party at Murphy's, this one to celebrate the resolution of what the neighborhood had started calling the divorce wars. The same crowd that had witnessed Celeste's humiliation 2 weeks earlier now toasted my freedom in Lisa's new apartment. So what's next? Paul asked as we stood at the bar. Dating, I said. Like normal people. Novel concept. Lisa appeared beside us, looking beautiful in a simple blue dress. Ready to go? Where are you two going? Paul asked. Dinner, Lisa said. Our first official date. Isn't this backwards? Usually you date first, then move in together. We're not known for doing things in the right order, I said, but we're learning. As we left Murphy's, I felt something I hadn't felt in months, genuine excitement about the future. The war with Celeste was over, the lies had been exposed, and I had a chance to start fresh with someone who saw me clearly, flaws and all. So, Lisa said as we walked to the restaurant, tell me about yourself. What do you do for fun? I laughed. I have no idea. I haven't had fun in so long I've forgotten what it feels like. Well then, she said, taking my arm, we'll have to figure it out together. 3 months later, Detective Martinez called with an update. Jennifer had pled guilty to all charges and received 2 years probation plus community service. Celeste had moved to Denver to start over, and Dean had apparently left town entirely. No one knew where he'd gone. Case closed, Martinez said. How are things with you and Lisa? Good. Really good. We're taking it slow, doing it right this time. Smart man. Sometimes the best revenge is just living well. She was right. The best revenge wasn't the public humiliation or the legal victory, or even the satisfaction of watching my enemies destroy themselves. The best revenge was the quiet happiness I felt every morning when I woke up in my own house, in my own life, with the freedom to choose what came next. Lisa and I were married a year later, in a small ceremony at Murphy's with Paul officiating and the whole neighborhood in attendance. Mrs. Patterson made the cake, Jim Morrison took photos, and Detective Martinez even stopped by to wish us well. As I watched Lisa walk down the makeshift aisle between the bar tables, wearing a simple white dress and the smile that had first made me believe in second chances, I thought about how differently things could have turned out. If Celeste hadn't gone to Rome, if Lisa hadn't knocked on my door that morning, if I hadn't chosen to fight back instead of just accepting betrayal. But she had, and Lisa did, and I had. And sometimes, when the stars align and you're brave enough to take control of your own story, everything works out exactly as it should. Do you, Ethan, take Lisa to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do, I said, meaning it more than I'd ever meant anything in my life. Then by the power vested in me by the internet, Paul said with a grin, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. As Lisa and I kissed, the crowd erupted in cheers, and I realized that this moment, this woman, this life I'd built from the ashes of betrayal, was worth every moment of pain it had taken to get here. Sometimes the best endings are really just the best beginnings.